Welcome back to Another Triathlon Podcast brought to you by Mana Apparel. As always, we're going to jump into the weekend's racing, and we had an oddly similar race in the women's short course that we did to the long distance in Kona, and we will break all of that down with the WTCS Grand Final, as well as chatting about the T100 race as well. But first, we're going to catch up with the crew as always, and I know we're a little late on the Kona train, so we will be recapping Josh's race, his marathon, and then my experience in Kona, but we won't dive too much into the Kona results because you have all heard the race recaps to death at this point. We'll just touch on some points that will be pertinent for the 70.3 Worlds coming up in a few weeks here. But first, let's catch up with the team here. We got Fede. How are you doing these days?
Yeah, hey guys. No, I'm happy. We were talking before we hit record, and I was mentioning that I lose toenails every time I race, and I did a 30K run this past weekend, and well, two of them are almost gone. So at this point, I just peel them off, like.
Oh. I can't. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a visual for our listeners and our viewers. And legs are feeling good. I did everything I tell my athletes not to do. So on Saturday, a friend of mine got married, so I went to the wedding. And on Sunday, I had my 30K run. And I did it probably a bit dehydrated. I only had electrolytes on my running vest. I had one gel, but hey, got it done. And I was like, hey, if I finish this, like I'm more than ready. And it wasn't like, it was long and steady and easy, but it wasn't like super slow. I think it was like 8:15, 8:20 per mile. So it was okay. And heart rate was good. No heart rate drift. So yeah, all in, of course, Monday, the body was like, what's happening? But yeah, getting ready for the New York City Marathon with Josh. Hopefully we can cross the finish line holding hands and hugging at the end. Him with his friend.
I hope not, because that means you had a bad day, most likely.
Yeah, well, okay, yeah.
Although I am starting early, so maybe that does happen. I don't know.
Hey,
You're gonna catch me and then grab my hand as you cross.
Yeah, I'm probably take off your Red Sox hat. And
maybe we'll see like a Brownlees finish where you just.
I'll carry you over, Fed.
Yeah, that'll be good. That'll be awesome. So yeah, doing that and exciting. It's exciting. Testing shoes. Still haven't decided which ones. But I guess I'll pack a bunch. And the good thing about just running a marathon is that I don't have to travel with the bike or the swim gear or anything else. I can just bring like 4 different pairs of shoes and then decide on the day. Yeah.
That's perfect. Yeah, it definitely makes a difference. But you're feeling good, feeling ready to go tackle a marathon?
I feel good. I know for a fact that I'm gonna have I'm gonna finish it no matter what, unless something incredibly bad happens. But not where I want it to be. So I'm just gonna hold the pace that I want to hold for as long as I can, and then hold the bunk pace whenever that happens. So yeah, we'll see what the day has in store for me. And
when was the last time you did you trained for a marathon?
The last time I trained for a marathon?
Yeah.
Never. Like,
yeah.
The first time I ran a marathon was 2015 in Chicago. So this time I'm running New York to celebrate my 10-year anniversary of running. And that's what got me into triathlon. But my training for that was nothing. Just, I think it was a K. My training thought was, if I can run a K, I can run 42 Ks. Long story short, that's not how we train for a marathon. And other than that, just the marathons on the Ironman distance, and my and I did the Disney marathon just for fun on the Dopey challenge when you run 5, 10, 21, 42. So never actually trained for a actual marathon, which is a little counterintuitive and crazy to think. But hey, yeah, life.
Love it. That's awesome. And how about you, Josh? How you feeling? A marathon down, a marathon to go? Tell us about your day out there.
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of checked all the boxes for the year. The A races are over. Looking at the year was go sub 5 in Oregon, go sub 3 in Chicago, and didn't quite get that. But man, I had a great weekend, great day, and still had a huge PR yet again. And a true BQ that I don't have to worry about, no matter how fast people become. I don't think I have to worry with a now 10:53 buffer going into the 2027 qualification period, which we'll find out next September. But yeah, really happy with that. But the whole weekend was phenomenal. We flew out Thursday and just missed getting to the expo Thursday night, but got up early Friday, got right to the expo as it opened, and I was like, oh man, we got there, and there was like 2,000 people online. And I was like, oh, this is going to take forever. And man, Chicago's got it down pat. Like, we literally got to the back of the line, turned, and just immediately walked in with everyone else and walked right up and grabbed our bibs. And like, no waiting, no stopping. Go into the expo, saw some people that we knew, and went over, did that, knocked it out early on Friday. And then it was just kind of get back to the hotel, relax, and do some shakeout stuff with Peloton and some other brands. And then we did our last shakeout Saturday morning, and really had a nice lunch and dinner that day, and the carb load felt like it went really well. I was just dialed in with everything I needed to do, and even asked ChatGPT how I was doing, and it was like exactly the plan I wanted. They confirmed it. I was like, all right, sweet. And got up early. This is the first time I've ever done this. I got up early Sunday morning, 3:45 to start eating and drinking my carbs and my sodium. And I had some rice. I had a 90-gram drink mix with about 1,000 milligrams or 16 milligrams of sodium,
Nice.
and a banana, and went back to bed and slept for another like 20-25 minutes and just got a little bit more in, and then woke up, and the food was there. Everything I needed was there, and I just had a drink to sip on. Wanted to get to our compound, which is right across from the start line, about 2 hours prior, so I could get my bicarb down. And we got there pretty much 5:45, and my race start was at around 7:40. So yeah, got the bicarb in, got my activations done, got a few pictures done with the charity, and walked over to the corrals, saw a bunch of people I knew, and got a good warm up in outside the corral. Jumped in, couldn't get as close as I wanted to the 3-hour pacers, but was probably 20 feet behind them. What I found out is when you're 20 feet behind pacers in a corral like that, that's about 1.5, 2 minutes behind them by the time you hit the start line.
Yeah.
So they were kind of gone within the first couple miles. I knew I felt good. Like last year, if you guys remember, I was starting to feel, I think my heart rate was up a little bit. I was feeling some pain in my hamstring early on, and then my foot went numb in the first few miles. None of that this year. And I was running 6:45, 6:40. I mean, so the first couple miles were a little faster than I wanted to be. I had the option to go in Corral A, but I dropped back to Corral C to be with the 3-hour pacers. That actually ended up not being the greatest decision for anyone who tried to chase these 3-hour pacers, because both of them, and there were only 2, not 4. Most of the other times have 4. Neither of them made it to the 3-hour mark.
No.
And they pulled their sticks down. One went in the first 10K. And his stick was down, and he was drenched, and it was like, it wasn't from water. It was like, and then the second one was off a little bit. And then I passed him at some point, probably around the 20K mark. And was still running mid 650s and like right where I needed to be. Hit the half at 1:29:48. So my first sub 1:30 ever.
Very nice.
Let's go.
Literally right on pace, right? But I think those first few miles early on, trying to catch up or running at a little, like I literally needed to be at 6:52, 6:50.
Okay.
And once I started running 641, 645, that added up. And I think a little bit of that muscle fatigue, and this is a 2-year project at this point of me doing marathons, and I just don't have that muscle strength to hold up at that pace or just above threshold. Heart rate was great. It was about 172, 173. I think I hit 175 on one of the faster miles in the 10K mark. But I ran that race last year at 174 average.
My God.
So for me, that's fine. And
Yeah.
at early on, I said, I got to get to the half. And I was like, because if I get to the half, that's a PR. Like, I'm going to run a sub 130. I was like, I got to get there. So that was the mental mindset that I played early. Like, just get yourself there. All right, that's done. I had a bottle at 9. And I was like, all right, that's going to give me a huge boost too. I started with the bottle this year. I didn't do that last year. That was huge. Fueling was spot on. 100 plus grams of carbs an hour and 1,700 milligrams of sodium. So I was fine. Temperature was great. It was a little humid. Some people had a little difficulty when the sun came out later. I had none of those. At 25K, I was like, if I keep pushing this pace, I could blow up and run a 320. And I didn't want to lose all the work that we had put into it. And 3 hours was great. We had a shot at it, and I almost got there. But I knew I could still run a huge PR, and did decide to pull it back. But I only pulled it back to like 7:05, 7:10, and that's still faster than I ran Boston in April last.
Yeah.
And the heart rate dropped 10 beats, and I was down in the mid 160s. So like, this is like high zone 2 now for me at 7:15 pace, and like, this is awesome. And I gave it all I had and ran my second or third fastest mile coming home, and got over the hill in 3:04:07. Just missed going into that 3:03 territory, but I was like, I thought I was running a 5:30 mile down the end. I looked back at the Garmin file and it was 6:50. My Garmin was way off the whole day too. That also didn't help. I ran 26.99 according to Garmin, but I had a Peloton app open going as well, and that had me at like 26.45 with walking before and walking after. So I was pretty spot on with my tangents. So I knew I ran a pretty tight race, and starting earlier, being out in the open, there weren't too many congested areas. The one thing Chicago does strangely is they have a couple aid stations where you're in a pretty tight spot. And it's like, why? Like, if you just moved it up a couple 100 yards, it would open up a little bit more. But I hit most aid stations with water. Gatorade, I dumped every time I had an aid station. I dumped water on myself. Just stayed ahead of it, whether I'm hot or not. Like, just stay ahead of it and make myself feel better. So, got my second bottle at mile 17. That was huge, and had calf in that. I had 3 calf gels and a half a banana, and 350 grams of carbs over the day, and felt pretty good recovery wise. Walked a mile and a half back out down the course to go see Janine as she was running her race and PRing as well. So good day for the family, good day for a lot of people out in Chicago, and just a really awesome atmosphere. And I'm going to miss that race. I got the email today that I qualified for next year, and schedule's just not going to allow me to fit it in with Nice, probably Berlin, and probably New York again next year. And those are September and November, and to get to Chicago and run a race just because I qualified isn't worth it. Like, if I could train for it again, absolutely. I think it would be nice if I can get into London or Tokyo to shoot for sub 3 at one of those. And then, hey, if I don't get it next year, Boston 2027 to be my sub 3 wouldn't be that bad either if I had to wait a year to go full boat into that. And I think the course suits me. So it was an awesome day. I appreciated all the messages and all the support from you guys, from our listeners, and from people that follow me. It was pretty overwhelming going through my social media and all that, which is just a really cool testament to all the work that's gone into it, and how much people appreciate it. And I can't wait to give back and do some more of that. And I get to pace somebody at New York to their PR, and we're shooting for a 3:45. So that'll be fun. And can't wait to see Fede again. We only meet in New York, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Which isn't too odd with giving his love for the city.
Right. Yeah. I have a thing with New York. I don't know. I'm more of an East Coast type of person. So definitely definitely enjoy the New York vibe, and it's going to be fun to see you and run with you and do all the preparations, which leads me to the question. Jenna and I and yourself now are an experienced triathlete, and we know how weird we are with fueling. And nowadays, all the suits, like the mono suits, have pockets everywhere, and you can fit fuel everywhere. I don't know. I don't want to run with the vest on a marathon. I think I don't want to be that guy running with a vest. So how do you keep fuel on you? Like,
So I have a pair of half tights, the Wollongong.
okay,
So you can put some stuff in there. I ran with the non-bottle nerd belt. So he's got a nerd belt that just
okay.
has a pouch in front and it doesn't have the bottles on the side. So you can drop a couple gels in there. You also know you're going to get Morton on the course.
Okay.
So I think I had the one gel in the corral, a calf gel right before 15 minutes, had that in the corral. And then I had one gel on me. And then the other two I grabbed on the course on the back half.
Okay.
But I had everything in my bottles, and having that was huge for me. At that pace, it would be really hard to fuel with just Gatorade. I would have to adjust if I only had one bottle to start. I would adjust by going with the higher concentrated gels, so the 160s or whatever the biggest impact you can get in one gel.
Yeah.
But you can get by with one every 20, 30 minutes. And if you want to go the high route, 20. And if you wanted to go conservative, the 30, depending on the weather, I don't think it's going to be too hot typically, right? It just comes down to how much sodium you need and how you get that in. But yeah, I like the half tights and then the nerd belt as a supplement as well. I don't want to run with the vest in a race like that either.
No.
Yeah. When I did Chicago, I just had a flip belt, like those run belts kind of thing. But I just used on-course nutrition. They had Morton there, they had water, so it was just Morton and water. And I don't think for most people, unless it's going to be hot conditions, you don't really need additional sodium unless you're a heavy sweater. It's definitely good insurance. But I think most people, if you're kind of salting your food and eating electrolytes beforehand, you can get with just kind of gels in it, unless you're out there for like 5-6 hours kind of thing, like if you're really getting up in time or if it's crazy hot. But moderate temperatures, Martin works great.
It's crazy because like running a marathon on an Ironman, it's a different beast, and it's like a completely different. It's the same distance, but it's different because you have 8 stations. You can put water bottles underneath your suit. You have your back pockets, and us as triathletes are used to filling every single pocket on the tri-suits. But with running and the short shorts and just the tank top, I don't know where to put any fuel. So
Just use my bra, but you might not have that available.
right. And I don't want to pull up to a marathon with the tri-suit. I don't want to be that guy either.
I'm telling you, Fed, you got to go with the half tights for a race like this instead of the shorties. Yeah.
Okay.
I know you look good in like the 3-inch and the 4-inch shorts, but the half tights are the way to go if you're going to sacrifice one thing. Cause training is it's actually a good benefit to train with all that weight and then take it off on race day and not have it. It's like wearing a weighted vest or something like that. And then going out and training without it. I feel like there's plenty on the course. I would pull up on YouTube, and I don't know if you've done it yet, but there's plenty of YouTube POV videos, and you can actually see which aid stations get crowded. Like I said in Boston, like left, right, all that. But you can while you're running this week, like pull up a YouTube and watch people run it and see how the course looks for you, and then just study where the gels are. But bring stuff to start, and I would even say a soft flask to start.
Yeah. That's
so over that first hour you're good.
Yep.
And from there you can get by with the next couple hours on the course. And I think that's huge too, is just starting with that collapsible soft flask. You buy one on Amazon for a couple of dollars and you toss it. The other cool thing that happened this week, and I forgot to say, happened to do with Kona. When I was out to dinner Saturday night, obviously while Kona is going on, 6 hours, or we were 5 hours behind. So it was like perfect timing for me. Like it ended as I was about to get ready to go to bed. But we were out to dinner with a friend of mine and her husband, who is a huge Cubs fan, and their game 7 was on. So he's all in the Cubs world, but their 2 daughters were there and they're become runners. So throughout the night, they were like, what's he watching over there? Like they would start to ask questions about the race, and they didn't really care about the Cubs too much. Well, by the time we got in the car to go home, he's put the game on like their television in the car, and the audio's on. But then I started screaming at my phone, and people were like, wait, what's going on? Like, they made their dad put the screen down, and it was when Lucy and Taylor bunked. And I'm like, man, I can't be cheering for this. But Jenna has shared this a few times. I've shared it a few times. And people have talked about how hard it is to predict world championship races. And we're going to do that for Marbella in our next episode. But yeah, I had called Solvi and Kat. And when those 2 bonked, it was like, I felt pretty good about that.
Yeah.
I'm a little upset I didn't go with my gut and stick with Lord Phillip. But yeah, it was to call 1 and 2. And then, so these 2 little young pre-teenagers are now leaned over the third row of their dad's car watching the end of Kona. And we watched all the way. We sat outside my hotel in the little cul-de-sac while we watched Kat and Solvi finish and battle it out down the line. And we've got 2 new triathletes that are going to be looking to do the kids race at the Chicago Triathlon next year. So that was pretty neat.
There we go.
So, yeah, that was crazy. I think you definitely had the closest predictions of anyone in the podcasting world. And we all kind of scoffed when he said that.
Yeah.
Like, really going to blow up, but no, you were.
and how it played out, I think, might be the part that I'm most proud of, because they totally I wouldn't say they overbike, but they definitely overran. Given the fact that if they had run like a 2:59 or low 3s, they would have won the race in the marathon. So that I think they were running like they knew people were coming for them and overdid it, which is kind of what I had said.
No,
Yeah, you
totally.
did.
And especially like them, they knew they had the runners coming from behind, and then they're shoulder to shoulder. And how do you not go with the person that's with you shoulder to shoulder?
Yeah. The fact that they were together definitely was a detriment at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely. You got to feel for their coach, though. Like, I think that's the hardest.
Dan Lorraine, one of the
He
best
had the
coaches out
worst
there, had
days.
both of them. And I think we talked about this offline, is he's in a tough predicament because they don't want to know what each other are doing. They don't want to have similar training. They don't want to have a game plan. They didn't have a WhatsApp chat about the swim start and all of that. Their coach just knew it was going to play out. And I don't think they actually talked about what do we do in this situation. And maybe that's the one piece they missed. Like, okay, we might be together. So how should we handle it? And how can we benefit the 2 of each other? And they could have worked together. And then, hey, make it a sprint finish. And they probably would have been all right. But that's sport. That's Kona.
That's how you say it. Like, that is Kona. That is
somebody
like,
here can speak
Yeah.
about Kona. So why don't you tell us how your day at Kona went and
Please.
the whole week? Like you did such a great job with covering everything going on in Kona and breakfast with Bob and being all around. I mean, you certainly got plenty of coffee at your coffee shop.
yes, lots and lots of coffee. which is
How
good.
did it go? Because Jenna finished Kona this year and we didn't swallow too much salt water, but we might have taken on
No.
something else that we didn't watch.
Right.
Man, this race, okay, I didn't have a Lucy or Taylor day, so that's good. It's definitely a last time.
That's always a positive.
Yeah. So it's my 3rd time on the island here. And basically, so the Kona race week is absolutely incredible. Like, we kind of touched on it a little bit on our podcast before the race actually happened. But when things fired up with Breakfast with Bob, I went to a bunch of those just to kind of hang out and take in the vibes of the athletes who are out there racing. And there's so many pro athletes at the highest level that give their time to things like Breakfast with Bob, which is really, really cool. And, he's not the only weekly podcast or everyday podcast going to the World Champs.
Right.
Oh, man, it was so funny, the battles between the podcasts, debating who did that first. But Bob is the OG for sure. Couldn't be a nicer guy. Like, he just makes everyone feel comfortable, kind of things they can chat. So that was a lot of fun. And then they also did another, the pro press conference and stuff. right in the middle of the day, like at the expo. So like they were really making sure people got the time to kind of hear how the pros are feeling, what was going on. And I noticed it felt like a lot more activations with kind of the female pros than we typically see. Like they were out at signings, they were doing things all around the island and at the expo especially. So that was cool to see that engagement. And everyone just seemed happy. Like you looked at the Kat Matthews, you looked at the Taylors and the Lucys, and they just seemed like all good vibes and having fun, which was really cool to see. A lot of times you don't see much of them in race week, so it sounds like they're all kind of feeling decent heading in, which is a good thing. Had a blast, and then race day once again didn't quite go to plan. It's my third time at this race, and it started off. The swim was the roughest one I've done by far. And I don't know because I don't have this problem in the pool, so I'm starting to think maybe it's the sunscreen because my goggles started leaking within the first few minutes kind of thing. And the salt water with my eyes, oh my God, I was like barely able to open my eyes by the end of this because your eyes are just kind of like bathing in salt water.
Cooking in salt.
My picture's coming out, my eyes are like all swollen as well. Oh my God. But yeah, super choppy swim out there. It was definitely a case of you had to sight at the right time or else you're just looking at a wall of water in front of you. The goal this time was take the swim easier than I have before because I think in the past I've either swallowed seawater or just overcooked it. There have been times where in that first year, like my heart rate got into the 170s on the swim, which is not great.
Yeah, not ideal.
Yeah, it's definitely getting onto the bike, having put out too much effort. So this time I was kind of like, let go of that time in the beginning because if I'm losing 20, 30 minutes on the bike because I'm cooked in the swim, then it just doesn't make sense, right? So I took the swim very easy, probably easier than I needed to, and then stopping with the goggles and stuff. It was brutal swim time, but got out of the water, didn't swallow a bunch of it. That was a win. Got onto my bike feeling really good. That was the best I have felt like getting onto my bike pretty much in a race I've done. Like I felt awesome when I got there. So that was really, really encouraging. But the part, the aftermath that I'm still dealing with right now was, if you're not watching any of the videos, don't follow us on social media. I'm a pasty redhead Canadian. So my skin isn't too accustomed to the sun. And they have absolutely incredible volunteers in Kona. And it was a case like I had 2 volunteers helping me out, which is amazing. And I asked for sunscreen because I put some on in the morning. Of course, the salt water is going to take a bunch off. So asked for more sunscreen. One lady was spraying it on my arms and spraying some of my hands for me to put on my face. And another one was rubbing what I thought was sunscreen on my legs. It turns out in the tent they had sunscreen and this icy muscle pain relief stuff.
Oh no.
Which is definitely not sunscreen. We go out there in the Kona sun and like I said, it felt amazing hit on the bike. And I was kind of wondering why I smelled minty. Like if you ever know that icy hot.
What's this breeze picking up today?
I feel so fresh now. Right.
Yeah. And all of the sunscreen in Kona has zinc and is reef safe. So it makes you look really white when you put on. And my legs didn't look like that. So it's just oh no, this is not good, right? But tried to put it on my head there. And then, before I even got to go down Pilani, I had a flat tire. And I was just oh, okay, crap. So changed it. Luckily, the change went relatively smoothly, as much as it can when your adrenaline is sky high coming out of the swim. Got that changed. And then I went down Pilani. And if you haven't ridden down Pilani, it's super bumpy, right? But I've used the same front end setup all 3 years that I've done Kona. I never had an issue. And I actually I've got one of those profile design bottles with the little straw. I tape my bottle to kind of the cage to make sure it doesn't fly out, right? What happened was my bottle cage, the front, where the front screw attaches, it cracked going down Pilani.
Oh.
And so it was sitting straight on my bars and it flung out to the side because it was only connected by the rear bottle screw. and just ejected my bottle across the way as it flew out. So that went rolling down. Didn't manage to catch up with that. I saw it as I was going down and it just cracked and imploded. So there's nothing in there. And that was about half of my nutrition, which is not ideal.
Yeah.
But the worst part was the cage wouldn't stay on place. So I stopped for a second there were like remnants of the tape that I had used to tape the bottle on left. So I like tried to use that bit of tape to like tie the bottle cage at least somewhat to the frame so it would stay in place. But no, it was just wobbling all over the place. So this between the arms bottle that was supposed to help all the aerodynamic benefits is now going like this the entire time. Like, oh my goodness. So the other bottle cage I have is right behind it. But the fun part is in Kona, they don't give you like standard bottles with water in it. It's just like the thin plastic water bottles with like the squeeze top kind of deal. So that doesn't stay in any of my cages that I have. So I end up having to like put one of those for water in that front cage and then rotate my arms in so they were kind of like squeezing the cage and bottle to keep the water on.
And this was early? Like you had this early?
This was in the first 5 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Palani is pretty early on. So
yeah. And it's a steep climb. Palani, it's a steep climb. So
well, and this was going down it that it happened. So you like go down Palani and then you kind of go out around and stuff, and then you come back and climb up onto the Queen K. So yeah, this is the first like 20 minutes of the bike. Oh. I'm just like, okay, we're off to a good start. From there, just kind of reset a bit, and just it was a bit of managing, figuring out how I was actually going to keep water on the bike. Took me a bit to kind of figure out, and then luckily they have Morton on course, so I could replace a ton of those calories with gels, and not ideal, but hey, it works. And then I had some extra nutrition at special needs at the halfway or the up on hobby kind of thing. So definitely managed with the nutrition. I still end up to get somewhere around 100 grams an hour, which is a little less than I was planning, but not bad either. And it just, that bike ride, the temperatures weren't crazy and they weren't calling for insane temperatures, but what happened that made it so hard that day was it rained all the night before and in the morning.
Wow.
And with those black roads and the rain, the humidity went through the roof. It was, the feels like temperature was like 36 degrees kind of thing, which was just insane. And I think I made the mistake of earlier this year when I was training for Taiwan, I did a ton of heat training, like tons. I was so ready for some hot races, but I think I burnt myself out a little bit doing that early on in the year. I couldn't, between the travel and the training, I just mentally couldn't get myself in the place to do that again when I was trying to kind of fit everything in. So that was the hottest I felt on the bike out there. There were definitely, I'd say like 30 miles out, I was starting to think like all I could kind of think was hot, hot, hot. Like it just, that's all I was feeling at that point. Which brought the next fun part where my watch died. And I'm not talking like died. I'm talking the screen glitched out and then it turned off, never to turn on again.
Oh my God.
I don't have any data from this either.
What have you done to the island that it tries to...
It must have pissed off someone somewhere. Oh my goodness. So yeah, I had to do it data free for the last, I think like 20-ish miles kind of thing. And at that point, like I said, it was just feeling kind of hot. So played it a little bit more conservatively because I was feeling so hot and didn't have any of those kind of external, what my heart rate was or anything.
Last 20 miles on the bike plus a marathon.
Plus a marathon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never run a marathon
no
without
data.
On running a marathon on feeling while just experiencing overall heat.
Yes.
Perfect.
So, that's where the marathon kind of turned things around for me, right? Not because I ran any kind of like blistering pace or anything. It was the best time I've run a marathon in Kona, so that was decent. But I was feeling pretty rough coming off the bike, and we actually had one of our teammates, Hope. She was doing incredible, chasing a top 10 overall kind of thing, and she kind of ran by, and I was feeling not great at that point. Kind of asked her what the pace was and stuff, and But then I started to come good and start to feel good and ended up just kind of coming up to her. And the first little while we were kind of yo-yoing back and forth because I run up the hills easier and then just try to maintain more of an even effort. And she was trying to hold on to a pace. So we were kind of like back and forth the entire time, right? And then Philip, who we had on the podcast before the race, he let her know that, hey, you're chasing down for a top 10 kind of thing. Like, just have a solid run in your top 10 in Kona in your first trial, which is absolutely massive, right? So from then on, the goal shifted from like, all right, my race day and time was out the window. So I'm like, okay, Hope, we're going to get you to that top 10. Like,
Nice.
this one is about you having an incredible run out here, right? So we kind of did the big yo-yo thing with Apollonia and stuff. And then I started feeling good coming out of the energy lab because we got some cloud cover at that point. And that's where I usually start feeling good in the Ironman marathon is like mile 19:20, which is nice to have. But she was starting to struggle a little bit in there. But it was like, no, okay, come on, we're going to make it through there, and just end up pacing her to have a good marathon there. So that was so fun but crazy. Like, we basically ran the entire marathon together, had no data in there. She had her watch, but I didn't really ask. It was just like, okay, try to keep moving. And then she got so close. 9 seconds. She missed.
That's what
out
I
on
was
that.
going to say. Like, how close did she know she was to that girl?
So we didn't
Because
find
they
out
started at the same time, right? Because it's all age group start waves,
Yeah,
right?
at the
So
same
she
time.
knew that how far it was.
We didn't know who it was in there. It wasn't until we'd come down Polani, and then Philip comes running in flip-flops.
Obviously, as
Yeah.
Philip does.
As you do. And it's like it's like 10 seconds or something like that. Like, just give it everything you've got kind of thing. So she went sprinting off the last like half kilometer kind of thing. At that point, I'm okay, like, just go get it kind of deal. And yeah, it was so close, but still 11th in Kona on your first try is an absolutely incredible result. So that was fun when it shifted from, hey, my day isn't going to plan, to, hey, let's see if I can in any way like kind of help with this. Then that's a pretty cool experience out there. So yeah, that was fun. And then post race I went to the Live Feisty event afterwards, and it was slated for Taylor Knipp to be there. And I thought, there's no way that she's gonna come out here. She showed up. She was so completely honest about everything and open, and that was really, really cool to see. And I respect that so much, because after having a hard day like that, where you're like passing out, almost winning by a few miles, that was very, very cool to see her come out and actually talk.
And you talk about the fact that you think Taiwan impacted your Kona race, and maybe that, and that's almost the whole season, right? And you had months to recover from it. I think that's what I was talking about before we started recording, like that impact that it could have on Taylor Knibb and Lucy Charles in 70.3 Worlds. Like, do they even race because of, I mean, they literally had a heat injury, and are they going to be able to race in 70.3 Worlds? Are they allowed to? And what are your thoughts there, Jenny? Because you've been through heat training. I don't know if you've ever had that level, and I know Emma Powell Brown's been there. Like, it's not an easy process to come back from, and it's something that I hope they take seriously and have some testing done to make sure that they are recovered.
Yeah, so I talked to Taylor's dad at the Live Feisty. Shout out, he's a fan of the podcast, so hi. But he was saying that the plan is still to do 70.3 Worlds, but she likely won't do the T100 races because they are in significantly hotter locations, and that re-injury with the heat is definitely a big concern there, right? And that's totally fair. So for both of them, I would be shocked to see them in the T100 races, again, just because of the climates and the locations they're in. It's very, very soon to deal with
And
heat.
Dubai's like the week after Marbella too, so it's like,
I can't see them doing it, right? So,
and then it's Qatar, so it's like,
I think because Lucy didn't get to the point where she was passing out or falling down, that is a huge thing. Like, I've unfortunately had a lot of experience with heat related issues, but I think that'll help her bounce back. I think we're going to see both Taylor and Lucy at 70.3 Worlds in Marbella. I don't know that we'll see them in the T100 races.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then the other fun thing with the week, my useless triathlon knowledge came was
Yeah.
actually a benefit for the first time ever. So they had the Pro Tri News live podcast, which was awesome. They ended up having to move to a bigger location because they sold out right away. So there was like 200 people out there. It was such a cool energy. But then afterwards, they had a trivia night with Gwen Jorgensen and Kyle. And I wasn't going to go, but I ran into one of our teammates, Nick, and Molly was there too. And they mentioned that there was a Wough saddle as a few of the prizes there. And I definitely wanted one of these Wough saddles. So like, okay, we'll just go check it out, right?
Of course. Yeah.
So went in and the trivia knowledge paid off and I won a Wough saddle, which was pretty cool. I haven't put on my bike yet because I have not built my triathlon bike since Kona. It's out of the box. It's just not put together. So we're miles ahead of last time.
Right.
But I'll have to stick that on and see what all the buzz is about.
Oh.
Looking forward to hear because that's definitely been on my radar. I've had the same saddle, which I've been very happy with. I have one of the ISM 2.0s. It's just been good for me, but it's probably a little heavy and it's starting to get a little worn. So definitely something that I'll be looking at probably next season going into Nice. So interested with that. I've been doing a lot of triathlon actually lately because I wasn't running after Chicago either, getting ready for New York. So yesterday was my first run since Chicago. So full 7 days off. In a short 3-mile run yesterday. And then I've now swam like 3 or 4 times in the last week. So it's like, I actually enjoyed going to the pool tonight right before we recorded. I was like, what is going on here? Like, but I'm swimming just to swim. And it's like, it doesn't have that same purpose, but it's still a workout and there is, but I feel like the form's better for some reason. And it's just like, I didn't lose much over the marathon build, which it feels good. So I feel like I'm in a good spot for next year and, aerobically will be fine for New York.
Yeah, unfortunately, darn, I have to take a bit of time out of the pool here. I'm not allowed to swim till Friday. Unfortunately, the sunburn kind of blistered and isn't looking too great right now. So got to take a bit of time. Just want to avoid any kind of infections and stuff because pools are definitely a cesspool of germs.
Yeah, no.
But I've actually been doing a ton of off-road racing. So usually after Kona, I would take a break completely, but to be honest, my summer was so hectic with like travel and everything. Training was so up and down. I almost feel like that was like a bit of a mini season break. It's not ideal for Kona, but it means I've been feeling really good now. So I'm going to be doing a race in January that's a combination of ultra running, mountain biking, kayaking, and swimming.
Wow.
Which is random. But,
and we talked about this before, right? The kayaking practice over the winter is going to get a little difficult.
I did a whole 2 kayak sessions. I don't know. Sessions in the summer. So I am good to go. But just riding, I stuck like these massive tires on my gravel bike. And I had no idea how many great like gravel and mountain bike trails there are like right outside my backyard. I have run in this park for a decade. But I always stick to kind of the paved paths and stuff. But I've had a blast. No power, no data, just riding and exploring new trails and realizing that my off-road bike handling skills leave something to be desired. So fingers crossed the weather holds up so I can get a bit more off-road time in here.
To start tagging the TTL crew. Be like, hey, look at me. You guys influenced.
There we go.
I'm off to wherever I go now.
Definitely. Oh, man. Well, lots going on. And then, so I'm going to be at Ironman 70.3 World Championships in Marbella. Not racing because I didn't do any 70.3s last year. So I'm going to be out there doing some coverage for Another Triathlon Podcast. I've snagged myself a media pass. So I will be out there getting all of the content I can around the pros and getting it out quickly. So definitely go check out at Another Triathlon Podcast on Instagram because we're going to get some good insights and I'll be able to get behind the scenes, get some pro interviews and stuff. So definitely stay tuned there. Along with cheering on some of the Mana team too. Did you guys see, like I was pulling up Mana on the tracker?
There's a lot. We have a lot of people. Yeah.
I was like, Oh my God. You're like,
throw down in the half Ironman world for sure.
yes.
Yeah.
Although we've done well at the 2 full distance as well. The men mono team finished 3rd place tri club in Nice, and now the women backed it up with 3rd place tri club in Kona.
We could not do it after the boys got 3rd. Come on, we had to.
Of course. Right.
Yeah, stoked to see that because Mana has grown so much in the last couple years to be in the point where we're in contention. In Division 2, we won outright. So Division 1, now we're competing against everyone. So that was very cool to see. Well, let's dive into it. We've had quite the recaps, but there's been so much going on. We had a bit of racing this weekend. How about, which one do we want to start with? How about T100? Because I think there's a little bit more Kona parallels with WTCS, but they had the T100 in Wollongong. Is that it? Yeah.
Wollongong.
Yes. Wollongong.
Yeah. Which initially was supposed to be
Vegas.
in Las Vegas. They just made a slight adjustment to the schedule and moved it to Australia. But we definitely had some great racing there with domination in one case and another back-to-back double. But Fede, do you want to tell us kind of what went down in Wollongong?
Yeah, what happened down under in Wollongong? I mean, I just want to take my hat off to Hayden Wilde. The way this man is riding a bike now, it's I cannot comprehend it. It's beyond my comprehension. I sort of understand it because he's a very dedicated guy. He doesn't take no for an answer. He's worked on his swim. He's he works on his aerodynamics to the last millimeter. And obviously we had a bottle gate and shoe gate with Hayden a couple of races ago. But I mean, he was the clear favorite and nobody touched him. He crossed the finish line and I think he was running on zone 0.5 because he wasn't.
He was chatting with Belinda as he's finishing, talking about a wine party.
Yeah, the way he took the race, by the horns. Of course, he won. He took the win. Mika Nut, a very solid athlete and an amazing bike rider, in 2nd place. And Yuri Kluin in 3rd place, 1 minute and 5 seconds behind Hayden. But Hayden was just amazing. And I don't know. I think we are going to see amazing things when he steps up to the full distance. Because to me, it seems like him, Martin Van Riel, Jelle Geens are going to be the guys that are going to be holding up the torch long distance triathlon for quite a bit of time now.
Yeah, definitely. And
you talk about real quick. You talked about Yuri Kulin, and we've been talking about the impact he has had, right? So his only real true good performance in the T100 was Singapore last year, and he finished that and was stretchered off. And we haven't seen him perform well until this past weekend. And we talked about how long this could take some people. And was that an impact over the last year plus? And possibly. And he tried to chase it and stay in the game instead of taking time off that he probably needed. So great to see him back and performing the way he did. And you could see it in his face. Like that meant a lot to him.
Absolutely. And it was just, it's crazy seeing Hayden in like 2nd gear just running down there. Like you mentioned, he was just chatting with Belinda through commentary, basically. That is something we haven't seen before, but he just looked so comfortable and composed. And we saw a lot smaller gap on the swim. So he's definitely rehabbing that shoulder well. So it's hard not to see him dominate the next few races, even though like the strength of field was definitely down with this. We had a ton of wild cards at this race, especially on the women's side too, just with Kona just happening. But this was definitely one of the least strong fields we've seen out there, but it doesn't seem to matter if everyone's there or no one's there. Hayden just runs away with it.
You're going to see it in Dubai too, right? You have to imagine, I mean, the week after 70.3 Worlds and that being such a big target for so many people, 70.3 Worlds and then Dubai the week after, I would imagine that's going to be another. I mean, Hayden's got the maximum points now. He can't get any more. He's now just like, check mark. Okay, well, I didn't gain any points. He's not gaining any points. The person who moved up was Mika Nut and Yuri Kulin, and some people made some moves. I think that's now like 4 podiums in a row for Mikanu too, like a couple thirds and seconds too. So he's been right there. And I think he's one of those guys that had a penalty he probably shouldn't have gotten along the way, and how that's impacted it. So definitely Mr. Consistency in the T100 field this year for sure, outside of Hayden. But how is Dubai going to be impacted by 7.3 Worlds? I mean, we know Yella's going to be in Marbella, and many of the others are going to be there. So that'll be interesting. And I mean, we had pretty much the same thing on the women's side in the T100 race too, right, Fed?
Yep. We had also an absolute domination this time on the run by Kate Waugh. My God. Like when I was watching the race, my mind just went to imagine Kate and Kat, the 2Ks, the KK from Great Britain, running alongside LE Drive, just battling it out. That would be amazing because these two know how to run. And I think Kate was dropping like 3:30, like it was nothing. And I was like, wow,
Unreal. Yeah.
Yeah, she is her. Yeah, and Ashley Gentle couldn't keep up with her. Obviously, very respectful second place, and kudos to Sara Perez-Sala from Spain, and an incredible swimmer. We know she went to the Olympics in open water swimming, and then turned a triathlete. Just holding the torch for those older athletes, and incredible race from her in third place, and it was. But I mean, Kate was just above everyone on this specific race.
Yeah, and it was crazy with Sara Perez-Sala. She raced that morning as a guide, and they crashed and then ended up winning. And then Sarah comes back and that afternoon races again in a T100 and gets on the podium. Like, how crazy impressive is that? Like, that was so cool to see.
Yeah.
In conditions that are not too cool either. Well. So like not the greatest, not the easiest conditions to race in. One of the other ones we didn't mention in the men's race too was Menno. Has had quite the comeback and had a great race. And what he finished 4th or 5th. So just off the podium, but great race for him, and that bodes well for him going into next year and the rest of the season. So good to see him back as a monopro.
Yeah, and good to see with Ashley, she's getting some confidence back with some results and stuff. So hopefully we'll see that extend through, and it always helps racing at home, right?
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing. You got those home crowds, the family out, everyone calling your name. It makes a big difference. But I think some of the biggest MVPs of the weekend was the commentary. We had Belinda Granger at commentary, and what a difference it makes when you have people who know and care.
Yeah.
The athletes know how to say their names, do their research, and have the energy. Like
the behind the scenes videos of the two of them, and like, whoa!
With their rolling
I want to be in that room. Although I'm assuming it smelled pretty ripe after like 4 days of being in there commentating me.
after Will raced.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. But they crushed the commentary. Now, I did find the coverage left some things to be desired on there. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it was driving me crazy. The camera on the women's bike was like steady and doing well. The cameraman on the men's bike was all over the place. Like, I was getting nauseous watching it, and I would think like maybe the roads are crazy rough or something. I'm like, but no, the other camera person is managing just fine to hold the picture. Where the men, like, I almost couldn't watch it for a while because it was just making me a little nauseous.
Yeah, a little weird on that part, but thank God the athletes were performing the way we needed them to. And you kind of forget about it. Like, nope, I gotta watch this.
Well, we had a back-to-back weekend of racing over in Wollongong, and it was so cool to see. We had the WTCS Grand Final there as well. Yeah. And what race it shook out to be. I think we have to start with the women's race because we had some parallels to Kona just a few weeks earlier. Earlier, which was absolutely crazy to see. Fede, what happened in the women's race?
On the women's race, we saw a lot of implosions happening here. And before we touched on those, hats off to Lisa Tertsch, because every time this girl shows up at a championship race, she is ready to race. It reminds me of course she's from Germany, but it reminds me of Patrick Lange, of just turning it up when it matters. and she knows how to deliver when the stakes are high and when it's a championship event. And she had no control over people bunking. She just controlled her own race, and she raced her to the best of her ability, and she ended up taking the win. So kudos to Lisa. Also kudos to Bianca Sergini from Italy in second place, and Emma Lombardi from France taking third.
Crazy.
She was running incredibly fast, 34:23. Yeah.
And it kept like I had to keep checking back to like if this, then this in terms of the overall standings. It was like, and Lombardi played a huge factor in what ended up being the final podium too. So like if she had dropped to fourth or fifth, it would have changed everything as well, I think.
Totally.
Yeah, if you don't follow the short course racing, this was the grand final for this series as well. So they accumulate points over several races throughout the series, and going in, it was basically you expect the Cassandra Bograns, the Beth Potters, to do what they've been doing all season and have a solid race.
Maybe Jean-Lahair has a chance.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For Tertsch to win, nobody was calling it because everyone else had to have everything go so catastrophically wrong and to have her win. And that's exactly what happened. Like, this would have been a Josh-worthy call for her. Not in her favor, but she just raced the conditions, the people around her, and raced smart, and spectacular win. Like, that shocked a lot of people.
Yeah, it was. And I don't know if you guys saw it yet, but Cassandra Bergrand posted a very deep post. And I'm not going to read it, but if you like short course racing and honesty, go check it out, because it speaks a lot about what triathletes go through mentally and how hard sometimes triathletes are on themselves. She started saying that I might be doing something wrong, and I pushed it too hard. It's all the what ifs that we all question whenever we have a bad race. And I think it's very good for the sport that people like Cassandra, who obviously Olympic champion, still is open enough to share this. And we are all humans, and we can all have bad races. And she had obviously a bad performance, and as she was saying on her post, back to the drawing board, and she's obviously gonna come back stronger, because we know the type of athlete she is. And beware, because she's gonna come with a vengeance next season, that's for sure.
And take a look at some of the comments on that post too. Like some of the people, like one of the first ones I saw was Jan, and like so the world is lifting her up and supporting her as well with that openness. And I think, like you said, Fed, next year's a whole different world in that aspect of triathlon too. LA points, everything starts to play in, and it all starts next season. So she took a risk by not racing a lot this year, and she said that in that post, and maybe it wasn't the right decision. But again, the season-long journey this year, a lot of them did so many other different things. So how they dial it in next year, that's what really matters in the run-up to the Olympics. So kudos to everyone who tried something new this year. And I mean, look what Georgia Taylor Brown's done, like 7-8 weeks in a row. And then she's like, oh my God, now I'm on the list for Marbella. What am I supposed to do?
She's like you, Josh, just coming off a marathon and then 70.3 and then a half. And
yeah, but she's like on the podium on all of them.
Yeah, and then we also saw Beth Potter too. That wasn't great scenes at the finish line. She definitely gave it all and kind of melted down like Cassandra as well. And she crossed that finish line and collapsed, and that was looking very unsettling for a while too, because she wasn't moving much. But it sounds like they got her some medical attention right away and were able to, hopefully she's okay in there, because it's that heat doesn't matter. With short course, the intensity is so high that you cross that threshold and it just doesn't come back down. And then you have Kona, where you're just in it for so long, where you cross that threshold, it doesn't come back down. So we've definitely seen some incredible women pushing the boundaries and the limits of what their bodies are actually capable of. And you just see that mental toughness of how mentally strong they are. They can overcome all of those flashing red lights that the body is sending to them and say, no, like, keep moving forward. And sometimes it pays off with the wins, and sometimes it doesn't, unfortunately.
And kudos to Taylor Spivey. I mean, she's had such a crazy career, and then finally got to the Olympics last year, and now to come back and have the season she just had and finish fourth overall on the year. So really, really cool. And on that stage of her short course career, to pull off a good year like that's got to be encouraging for her to even think about maybe LA 2028. And it sounds like she's going to go for it. So
absolutely. Okay, on to the men's side. We had a new record there. What happened?
My God, we had a world domination from Matty Hauser from Australia. Did you guys saw how he went the first couple 100 meters of the swim?
Insane.
I was like,
I think it was Greg Harper that posted that reel or whatever it was, and it was like, "This is how you start a swim." I was like, "Goodbye."
Does he have fins on, paddles? What's happening? Is a dolphin pulling him? My God. Just see ya, everyone. And
that's your life saving in Australia. They know exactly how to get through the waves and get it done for sure.
I was in awe, and I was like, oh, as well. Whenever someone does that, if it's not like a household name, you're like, okay, they're bluffing, or okay, they want to get their 5 minutes of airtime. They want to be on the breakaway for 10 minutes, and then they're gonna go straight to the back of the pack. But when it's Matt Hauser who does that, you're like, he's feeling good, he's winning right off the bat, and
pretty much.
That's what he did. Yeah, he was like
completely opposite of the women's race, the one that was in the lead, expected to win.
Yeah,
did the job finally on his home turf.
Yeah, incredible. And running a 29:16 to take the win. Who wasn't he wasn't the fastest runner. Runner was the guy in second, David Cantero del Campo from Spain, running a 28:54, just casual. And in third place from Italy, we had Alessio Crociani, 29:58, just incredible. And Miguel Hidalgo just almost cracked the podium in fourth place. But we had Miguel Hidalgo, Vasco Vilaza, Tyler Mislachuk coming in, cracking the top 10 in ninth. Morgan Pearson, 11th place. And but yeah, just Matt Hauser was in a league of his own. Just and I think he cracked the code finally in short course racing, and maybe we're gonna start to see a domination type of Alistair Brownlee, Johnny Brownlee, Javi Gomez style, Mario Mola with Matty in the next couple of years leading into LA.
Well, this was the first time we've ever seen someone win with a perfect score. So that was very cool to see with the wins he got throughout the season. That's the first time that's happened. But I don't know if it's a domination yet for next year. We've got a couple.
Hayden and Alex coming back.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. That makes me more excited to see it, though, right? Like, because we have someone who has been so dominant, and there'll be these guys coming in who were so dominant in the last couple of years. Like, seeing them go head to head, has Matty Hauser gone to another level? Have these guys lost some sharpness, or will they jump right back into it? Like, this is making next year, where the accumulation of Olympic points starts up again, so much more interesting. Like, so much more.
Yeah, but surely Matty has inserted himself into one of the 100%. Top contenders of fighting for medals come LA.
He's not just the swim biker who loses it on the run anymore. Like, he's now a complete triathlete that we hadn't seen that level of from before. We've seen snippets of it, but this was an entire season-long narrative that he, like Jenna said, perfect season in terms of max points. So really, really awesome day. And I think it ended up being him, Hidalgo, and Vasco on the podium for the overall series.
Yep.
And it's going to be a roller coaster next year as everyone starts to show up and come into the game again and actually focus on it a lot. And who knows, are we going to see Alex come back from marathon running, or has he kind of gotten hooked on that? Like, we really don't know. Or has Hayden started to realize that long course is his jam just as much? And we'll see him going there. But I think with the T100's latest announcement, I'll be curious to see which way he goes. So if you haven't seen, T100 is changing up how they're doing the series next year. they're getting rid of the athlete contracts.
Yeah.
So there's more contracts for each race. They are taking the races. They're going to have 9 races. And it's going to be 4 men's races, 4 women's races, and then the grand final where everyone comes back together again. So splitting out the genders, which I'm sure we'll have a few thoughts on that. But they're also increasing the prize money at the event. So instead of giving the athletes a $100,000 contract to show up to all the races through the season, the athletes can kind of choose if they're selected to show up to the race or not to contend for that prize money overall. Now, it'll be interesting to see how the selection of athletes turns out, because they're going to be based on kind of previous rankings with the T100 from this year, some wild cards, and some, I think, World Triathlon rankings.
Yeah, so it'll start with the first race will be based off of this year's end of season results. And then going from there, it's the previous race results. Top 10 automatically invited to the next race, and then wild cards, and then ranking somewhere in that formula. But the first race of the next season will be based off of this year's results.
Got it.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting, because if you look at kind of the T100 rankings and stuff, obviously their races are heavily weighted against everything else, right? So we're still going to see kind of this closed circuit unless you kind of get on the radar for a wild card, essentially. But this also means it opens up the races to a couple big names. So this year, if you had turned down a T100 contract, you are not eligible to be a wild card or to come out to any of the races. And that's why we lost some big names like the Blumenfelds, the Cat Matthews, and a few other athletes too. So this has the potential for them to come back, or someone like a Lionel Sanders kind of thing. Like, we could see some big hitters in there. But I think the biggest thing will just be when they release the race calendar and when those races are within the year, because we've definitely seen a lot of conflict in the back half of the year this year.
We know it won't be T100 London. That's the one we know it's not going to be, because that's going to be short course WTCS, which is what makes me believe Alex E's all in. Whether Hayden Wilde's in, I don't know for LA. Alex was one of the poster childs for that announcement. Like, he's like, oh my God. So all the British athletes are going to be in T100 London. WTCS.
WTCS.
Yeah. So that's going to be one of those first point builders of next year. And it's been decades since London's had a WTCS race. So kudos to them and British Triathlon for pulling that off. And it is interesting because it's not going to be a T100 distance race for the pros that week. It's going to be an age group T100 and short course stuff, but that's it on the pro race. So it'd be interesting how they replace that and work out the schedule. But we might have somebody on in the near future to help us.
Yeah. So what do you guys think about the gender split? So really, they kind of pushed it out as potentially this was an athlete-driven decision. But the reality is that essentially some of their funding, they need to have 9 events. So the easiest way to do that, if they're going to split the men and women, they know their pro athletes want to race less and they want to add more prize money. The easiest way to do that, split the genders, which means you split the prize purses at each event, but you can still produce this 9 races that they want to get done at the end of the day. The funny thing with T100 is probably a part of kind of running the series for a while. There's lots of couples that do the T100 during these events. And what we've seen from Nice and Kona is it makes a difference having all the pros at one race and not separated into each gender. So what are you guys' thoughts on them separating out men and women in the pro field for T100?
I don't like it. I think, it's back to where we were a couple of years ago with the Ironman. And I think in order for the sport to grow, everybody needs to be at the same place at the same time. And just because we feed off each other, and the energy of the men's race feeds up the women's race, and I don't know, I just don't see why. I mean, I know why, but I don't like the reasons behind it.
I think the why is the only reason, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And the why is the contracts they have with the host cities and obligations to go back there. And they're changing their format, similar to what Ironman did with Nice. Okay, well, we're not coming back as a full Ironman, but you're going to get 70.3 worlds for a couple of years. And that I think is probably the same thing T100 is going through. They had promised some cities that they would be coming back to with the pro race, and they're not going to be able to have 8 of them, so they had to pick 4 and 4. And maybe it's only for 1 year, and then they go back to everyone together in year 2.
So it's less from the host cities. Those are still debated if a number of those are going to happen. It's more with the investments in T100 from their investors. So it was sold as kind of a 9-series race. So still don't have hard answers on most of the races, as they'll be coming back to previous locations or if they'll be finding new ones in there. The good news, they do have Vancouver coming back, which obviously I'm a big and then I think Singapore was the other one, if I'm not mistaken. So those will be coming back, which is good. But I think their biggest problem, especially if they're going to be separating out men and women, they need to have this race calendar out, right? Because people are going to plan the other Ironman races if they're going to do the Pro Series and commit to that. And especially the big names, like they obviously want to plan out their season to have success, as we've seen it in Kona, 70.3 Worlds. Like that is a big driver for these athletes. So they want to plan their seasons.
Pro Series is out. So anyone who wants to do an Ironman Pro Series calendar next year literally could start booking their flights and everything right now.
Easy.
That's the thing. Ironman is such a behemoth. They have these races. You know the races are going to happen in the location that they say. So it definitely offers a lot more stability for the pros. Whereas I think having the contracts for T100 was that sense of stability for some of the pros, which will be going away as well. I'm really, really curious to see what the turnout looks like with this new setup.
It'll be interesting too, because this will be the first time we have this with competition with the Olympic cycle as well.
That's another big one, because T100 has become very short course heavy, significantly. Yeah, and we saw like they've done something similar in the past with they had like Miami before it was the T100 series. That's basically how they did it, except they did the men and women together, but it was individual races with bigger prize purses, so people showed up. So that's definitely a draw.
Yeah,
I agree.
Speaking of LA, I'm gonna make a wild prediction for 28. Hayden Wilde is gonna be the first person to win the Olympics and Kona on the same year.
Ooh, that is a big shout. I'd love to see it. We've seen many a short course people move up to the long distance and try to go back for that Olympic medal, and so far it hasn't worked, but someone's going to do it.
Reason why is because he has time, and right now he's cracking the quota at the T100 distance. Obviously, second place, 70.3 Worlds. He has time to develop on the longer stuff, and I think he has cracked the code for short course. And I don't know. It's just a hunch, but maybe we look back at this episode a couple of years ago and say, "Hey, Fede was right," just like Josh was with Solvi.
Does he go right from LA to Hawaii and live over there for a couple of months and get ready?
Well, maybe could be.
Absolutely love the big shouts. That is always fun to hear. And you know what the best part is? If it happens, we'll give you kudos. If it doesn't, we'll have forgotten about it by then. So you're like, either way.
Exactly. Yeah, either way, it's a win.
Yes, definitely. Well, is there anything else, guys, before we close it out here?
I would just say go watch the Alex E series. It's really, really cool. So that's kind of like my social media post. So he also shared a cool Kyle Smith little riding a tractor, building his own house now and his little downtime. But go check out the Alex E series that just popped out on YouTube for his build to Valencia.
Oh, fantastic. Definitely have to watch that one on the trainer rides when it cools off even more here. Awesome. Well, we are definitely going to be back next week. And then before you know it, it's going to be time for the 70.3 Worlds in Marbella. I'm super stoked to get up there. And we're going to see some epic racing go down, because how can we not? After the men's and women's Ironman World Championships, we are setting up for a ripper 70.3 Worlds. I don't know about you guys, but I can't wait.
Looking forward to it and your coverage of it all.
Exactly.
Awesome. Definitely, if you guys are listening to this, go give us a follow on Instagram at Another Triathlon Podcast. I'm going to be that annoying person. Go follow us on YouTube as well at Another Triathlon Podcast if you want to see what the three of us look like as we chat away and geek out on triathlon and all the funny faces we make along the way. Go give that a follow. Until next time, though, have a great night, guys.
See you guys.
Thank you. See ya.